I really wanted to set you all up for success. So that's why we're here today for spring refresh. So the first thing we'll go over is forms and guides forms that FRN National needs from all of you to help measure our impact as a network. And then we're going to show you where those resources are because a lot of times it can be confusing to navigate the website. So we're actually going to walk through the website and side by side with Julia, and that will be super cool. And then we're going to answer any questions. So, of course, if you have any in the chat, I can't see the chat because I'm doing the presentation. So, Julia's got you. And then we're going to announce upcoming programming, which I think is so exciting because like Julia said, was a advisor at Northern Arizona University for 2 years, and I don't think I knew like what I know now since I've like kept learning about FRN stuff over and over again. So, but the thing that I was really excited about was the upcoming spring funding that we're going to talk about, and I'm super excited. And then we also have a really cool opportunity for you to talk with our SOB, so we'll talk about that later. And then, yeah, provide contact information because we are here all the time through DM, through email, through all the things. We know what it's like. We do know what it's like. We know what it's like to be told no and all of those things. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you, Fran. Cool. Before we jump into resources, I do just want to go off of what you just said, Fran, of we know what it's like running a chapter, doing all of these things. So to just take a beat and say thank you all. We know how much work you're doing. We appreciate you being on this call. We appreciate you running a mini nonprofit at your school in your community. So just know that we are seeing all the work that you do and we're super thankful and we just really appreciate it. And that's coming firsthand because we know how much work it was and we see everything you guys are doing. So with that, let's talk about some resources to help you keep expanding, keep growing. All of our resources, anything that you might need, will be on the student resources page on our website. So it's kind of broken up in a few different chunks and sections, but perfect. Fran wants to show us. Essentially, yes, if you go to chapters and then you go to student resources, this just has so many different guides, I keep saying the word resources, but lots of guides, any of those required forms up at the top so you know what is due and when. We'll chat a little bit more about those in a minute, but there's also these different buckets, right? There's more content about food recovery, advocacy, and community engagement. If your chapter is mainly doing food recovery, you can definitely still do things like advocacy and community engagement. You're not shoehorned into one bucket. You can definitely do all of those things. But then, yeah, below we have those kind of required forms, specifically our official chapter agreement. If you have not signed that already, if you signed it in the fall, you do not have to sign it again. This is just a once a year form that says you want to be an official chapter in our network for the year. But yeah, so then we have some leadership team for resources. We'll talk about those in a minute. And some other kind of helpful tools, our grant funding application, some ideas, and some volunteer resources, which we will go through in a second. Cool. Specifically, we have lots of guides that you can find on that student resources page that Fran just showed us. If you click on some of them, they will bring you to these. So we know leadership team transitions might be occurring at the end of spring. So we have a few guides on there, which talk about how to form a leadership team and how to also transition your leadership team, right? Some folks are graduating, maybe some folks are rolling off just to become a volunteer or a driver. That kind of can help you through some of those steps. They were created by students who were creating a leadership team and who were trying to transition that off. You can really set up your next executive board for success if you kind of start a little early. So we recommend thinking this spring through, right? Who will be taking over at the end of the semester? If it's no one different, then great. But if it's someone new, we want to make sure that we set them up for success, right? Think about what did you get as you were an incoming leadership team member and what can you then hand off to the next folks. In the middle, we have our how to set up and run a food recovery guide. It's a really long guide. It's like 40 pages long. It covers everything you would need to know to run a food recovery network chapter and run food recoveries, definitely use, there's a big table of contents that helps you kind of jump around there. That's a really good resource to check out. And then one of my favorite little guides is this volunteer recruitment guide we wrote last year. Essentially, how to recruit more friends. We know that this is a whole movement, right? We need lots and lots of different folks to help us out doing different things. So that is that volunteer recruitment guide to check out. Lots of different ideas, lots of different ways, and just like tips and tricks on how to table, things like that. So cool. And then Fran, do you want to talk about food tracking forms?
Yeah, so I was actually going to show you how to find those three guides. So the first one and the easiest one is the food recovery guide, and that's going to be under food recovery. And then on the second page on the left, oh, additional support, sorry. It's a big button on the bottom. And it takes you exactly to that Google Doc screenshot that it looked like. Okay, I'm going to step backwards, and we are going to look for, oh, shoot. So it's really hard. Okay. And then the other one was the
They'll learn where those volunteer
volunteer,
recruitment guide.
yeah, because that was a good one. And a lot of the questions that happened in the fall was like, how do I keep recruiting? Is it going to be under community engagement?
This one is no, it's under volunteer resources. So if you go back and go all the way down to the bottom. Nope, sorry. Sorry. Keep going all the way down.
It's okay, got this. Oh,
Go to
there we
volunteer
go.
resources. There you go.
Here we are for you. Volunteer resources. And then this is a really good page when you're barely starting your chapters. And I know a few of you are new to your chapters, but here's the volunteer recruitment guide, right to that same thing we were just looking at. Okay, so we are going to talk about food tracking forms and yeah, and how to do them and how to get them and how to get to them and where they are because they don't have to be daunting. And I know that a lot of some of the feedback on the end of the semester survey was that it took too long. So you don't have to do it all the time. You can just do it that one time at the end of the semester. You could do it once a month. You could do it whenever you like, but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. In fact, you don't even need to fill out all of the different sections. We just are looking for like your pounds, who you are, and what you recovered. If it is not, there is a button for success or not success, so you can explain to us, or you can directly email us with your struggles, which is way more fast tracked, I promise. But yeah, so the first place is right on that student resource page that we were just on. The second page is going to be on the food recovery button that I was kind of on, where the big button on the bottom was the food recovery guide. And then the last one is through looking at current chapters. So if you look for your state and then for your exact university, it'll give you exactly your food tracking form. I guess I actually want to talk about that too and how the food tracking form itself is on embedded in the website. And then we have these food tracking forms where you can see where it's populated through a Google form and you can see how much pounds you did through that embedded website form, if that makes sense. But I'll connect them all the dots right now. And then this is what the other kind of form looks like when we're pulling out that information. So you do pounds to date. And if anything is off, let me know and I can fix it through an email. But yeah, so we're gonna go do a food tracking form real quick. Super easy. So first spot right there, food tracking form. And this is where you're gonna just super easy, put in your pounds however often you like. Okay, now you're just like, oh my gosh,
Wait, do you
Fran,
want to
I
go
need
down a little, Fran? Sorry, just to
yeah,
show. To back up for a second, the reason we asked for this is
yeah.
we want to know how many pounds of food you all are recovering. Then we total it up at the end of the semester. So we're still kind of finalizing all of those pounds, but this is super helpful for us. So you don't have to do it every single week. You don't have to do it after every single recovery. Some folks do as a way to track. This is there for your use. So if you want to do it once a semester, great. If you want to do it after every recovery, that's perfect too. However you'd like. Some of these questions, as Fran mentioned, have little stars. mostly it's the main ones, right? Like stars isn't required. The state, the date of the recovery, um, total pounds recovered. But then some of those other questions you don't have to fill out unless you're using this as your main data collection. So if you want to put in what types of food recovered, you totally can. But again, the main number we're looking for is that how many pounds of food have been recovered. We leave these questions on there, but just not marked as required because some chapters do use this as their main tracking device. So just wanted to say that. But yes, so once you put this in, Fran, do you want to show us kind of where you can find that data once you filled out your food tracking form?
So then you're going to go to current chapters. We're going to go with University of Buffalo, actually, because it's such a good school. Love that one. Okay, we're going to go to New York. Oop, there we go, New York. And oh, also a fun thing, if you, when you're looking at, oh, sorry, I need to just show you this first before I say anything. So University of Buffalo, and it goes straight to your chapter. And you see University of Buffalo has a picture here. Here's a little cute addition. If you like to email me a chapter photo that you want on your next to your name on your chapter on the website, I'm here for it. Anyways, so then we're gonna click pounds today. And that's where all that information gets pulled to. And yeah, they got 16,000 pounds for fall. Really proud of them. And then you can also look at funding. So that's what I really like about this. Don't you worry, 2 seconds and we're going to fix it right now. Yeah, you'll be able to see your funding on this page.
Sometimes these take a second to load, especially if you have a chapter that has a lot of data that it's pulling from another sheet. So if it ever doesn't load, leave it open for a minute and then come back and then here we are.
Yeah, so this is what they have. And every chapter will be different. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool. One other note, Fran, can you go back to that food tracking form and go to their fall semester?
Oh yeah.
Perfect. So yes, when you fill out that food tracking form, those then auto-populate into the specific tabs for the semester. These are uneditable because it's pulling from a few different places. Like we do a little zap essentially. So that form that you filled out will then end up going into this spreadsheet. If there's a problem, please email us. We can fix it on our end, but they're just a little finicky, which is why we don't allow access to everyone. We also don't want someone messing around with your food your food tracking. Not that anyone would, but that's why they are locked. So that's food tracking forms. If anyone has any questions about those, like please feel free to let us know. Amanda, yes, go UB, go Buff. Love it. Perfect. Cool. All right.
Yeah. I think food tracking forms are a little finicky and or hard to understand, but I hope this helps. And then it gets to the good part, that funding tab I was kind of talking about.
So yes, grant funding in every academic year, almost a calendar year, every academic year, each chapter gets $300 to use from FRN. So if you're looking to see how much funding you have, check out that food tracking form that Fran just showed us. This funding can be used in lots of different ways. You can use it to help support your chapter expanding, if you want to hold like an appreciation event for your volunteers, if you just want to upgrade from single-use trays to reusable ones, right? This funding can do a lot of different things. If there's a time where you need more funding, please let us know. The $300 is quite literally what we found that chapters need. We know when you start a chapter, it might require a little bit more funding, right? To kind of establish yourselves, right? You might need tarps, you might need more trays, things like that. So please do let us know if you need more funding. Again, that 300 is just kind of where we've found that most chapters need. Also, definitely check out if you haven't already. When you're a registered student organization, most of the time you can get funding from your school. And I know they offer usually a good amount to help you get started. But again, we're here to help fill in that blanks. If you have an idea to help feed more people faster and you need some funding, please do email us and we can help you out. So that is grant funding. Again, on that student resources page is where you can find the form. Perfect. Fran's going to show us. Scroll all the way down to that big one right there, grant funding. It's called a grant. This is, you have this $300 and you may even have more or less depending on how much you've already used. But if you scroll a little bit down for us, Fran, it's just filling out this form in two different ways. You can do it as a reimbursement or you can do it as a supply request. So let's say you ordered t-shirts that were really specific to your chapter, right? FRN at Elizabethtown College. That's probably not going to be on our little supply request button, right? Because it's very specific to your school. But what you can do is order it and then upload the receipt into this reimbursement section, and then we will send you a check to then reimburse you for those funds. So that's the reimbursement side of things. And then if you want to do a supply request, you click that, which you can do both in one form if you want as well. But just to show you the supply request, we have things listed on there, containers, single use or reusable. And then in that other chunk, right, we have scales, thermometers, gloves, some FRN merch as well. So definitely check that out to see what types of fun stuff you can get from FRN.
Okay. So this is our glimpse as to what the spring semester will look like. And we put together where the reminders of the spring forms. I feel like spring has more forms than fall does, but it's for good reason. So the first one is completing your food tracking forms. That can happen anytime, all the time, once a time. Just help us. The second one, and we're going to talk more about this, is my favorite thing in the entire world, and it's our third time doing it, is Volta Bracket Bingo. And it's just a really fun opportunity for chapters to get involved and do really nice things that are not just food recovery. So we'll talk about that in a couple slides. And then Earth Month in April, I think, well, I think it'd be cool because I watch all of your Instagrams. So I think it'd be really rad if you guys did something during Earth Month and tagged us in it and let us know what you were doing, because why not? Earth Month's the best and a really good time to celebrate because a lot of organizations are doing some rad things. And then we think that you should be doing and thinking, of course, about your leadership transition, because spring is always a good time when a lot of our graduates are leaving and we want to sustain your programs on campus. Because at the end of the day, this is, a student-led movement. And without y'all, without this. We also give out graduation cards, so watch out for that newsletter email or a PS or something like that. So be on the lookout for that. And if you are super too jumping to the point and you're just like, oh my gosh, I need to know in February, you can definitely email programs at foodrecoverynetwork.org and you can ask us. And I will be here to reassure you that you will be on the list to be notified. And then the last thing is, of course, in May and June, the end of the semester and leadership forums, or the end of semester survey, which is really important and it means a lot to FRN and to me. So if you need more than June, or you're like, you know what, Fran, I'm just too busy. I need to do it on July 15th or something. Just be in open communication with us. We definitely love the feedback and we incorporate that feedback into how we operate. And it helps a lot of you.
So one of the things Fran mentioned in the spring is our Boulder Bracket Bingo Challenge. This is the bingo square from last year, just to show you the example. We've not fully established our new one yet. It will roll out on February 10th through March 31st. Essentially, this is a challenge of how many of these individual challenges can you and your chapter check off to then earn the funding per each square. So more details to follow. We'll send you an email about it. We'll post about it on social media, and it'll have a separate little website page to kind of explain it a little bit more thoroughly. But if you see there's little kind of symbols on the corner of each square, and that shows you how you can earn credit for that challenge that you've done. So we know that lots of these challenges are things that you are already doing, which is purposeful. We want to help fund the work that you're already doing. And then we just ask you to fill out a food tracking form, upload a photo, tag us, or email us so that we can give you credit for that and so that we can then give you that funding. So that is our Boulder Bracket Bingo Challenge. It's super fun. It's super easy. If you have any questions about it, please do let us know when it comes to be that time. But yeah, so it'll be February 10th to March 31st. So kind of Super Bowl through, I almost said March Mammal Madness, which is a really good challenge if you've ever done that before. But March Madness. Cool. All right.
And then, of course, we wanted to give you more of a look into what the leadership team changes form even looks like. It's so easy. And I check them every day, like mail, and I update all of your accounts based on this. So just keep us up to date on what's happening because we like knowing and you're a part of our network. So we do have some requirements, this being one of them. And the one on the right is a leadership team transition checklist. This is a little bit harder to find on the website, but if you look up we have some blogs on what we think leadership transition can look like. And in the bottom of that blog is this form. But if you can't find
This
it,
one is
it's
also under that leadership team form, like
oh,
that leadership team section. If you go to the student resources page
perfect.
and click around, it'll be right there. But we ask you to do that leadership team changes form so that we can update you in our database, so that we can move our alumni to our alumni list, right? And you can hear all of our fun alumni news. And then so we can keep in contact with current leaders, right? So that we don't lose the legacy of your chapter. So that's kind of leadership team changes and transitions. If you need any help with starting that off, please do let us know. We are here to help you through that time. But definitely start thinking about that now. It just sets you up for success more in the future.
We also have a volunteer form. So if you just like to email me and ask for it, that's probably the easiest way to get it. But the volunteer form is for all of the rest of the volunteers that you have that you want FRN National to be in communication with for newsletters.
Mhm.
So the leadership form is for all the leadership things like the EOS reminders, the leadership transition forms, and the volunteer form is just for that Sunday newsletter that's cozy and just FRN National update.
All right. Happening next week, because I know this call was really just to give you updates on forums and resources and things like that, but we will be having kind of an office hours with SAB, which is our student and alumni board. So this will be on next Thursday from 6:30 to 7:30 Eastern time. Essentially, if you have any questions, if you have any challenges, you just want to chat with other friends, right? Other student leaders that are doing food recovery, please hop on this. We've done this before. It's really, really fun. Everyone that shows up really says they have a valuable time, and you walk away with a lot of different ideas and maybe some helpful information as well. So that will be next week. I'll pop in the chat the registration for that. But yeah.
Okay, like I've said from the beginning, we are always here for you. But these are some of the ways that FRN National communicates with our chapter. So one is through the monthly newsletter, and that is always packed with a bunch of good information in the news. So what was really cool this year was seeing a lot of our chapters be in the news. So we have a little news section at the bottom of every newsletter, and we'll be running some really cool promos, and Pull to Bracket will be on the next newsletter. So just pay attention for that one. It's a good one. You can always email us at programs@foodrecoverynetwork.org. I'm here Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, whatever you need. Please, please, please. I'm here. And then also, I know this is probably less intimidating, but you can follow us on any of the social medias and DM us directly with your problems. And we like that. We like being here for you. We like supporting you. We like empowering you. So we're here. The last thing is.
All right. Well, that was our little welcome back call, everyone. Thank you so much for hopping on. I see it's 12:29. If you have any questions, feel free to stick around, pop them in the chat. We'll hang out for a few more minutes. But Fran, will you go to the next slide? I put in our email in the notes as well. But again, please, if you have any questions, if you have any things that you want to talk to us about, we are here to help you, whether that's dining hall problems, volunteer engagement, help, please do let us know. We've seen it all and we're here to help. So thank you all so much for hopping on. If you don't have any questions for us, you are all set. Welcome back. And thank you all again so much for your work.